taxpayer dollars to pay for a trip to New Orleans this year, raising questions about a lack of government oversight. Patrick Hoff has the latest in his investigation into how your taxpayer money is spent by the Baltimore Children and Youth Fund.
BCYF received about $15 million in taxpayer dollars this year, guaranteed through the Baltimore City Charter. However, it operates as a nonprofit. Now, we received documents in a public information request showing the group spent about $130,000 in taxpayer dollars on a trip to New Orleans.
The February trip was for BCYF's opening plenary, aimed to help establish a vision for Baltimore's youth development ecosystem. BCYF paid about 80 people to participate in the New Orleans trip, which included their staff, board of directors, and nonprofit partners. Documents show expenses include roughly $70,000 for 3 days at the Virgin Hotel New Orleans, nearly $29,000 on flights, and about $11,000 for a bus charter used to escort attendees from several different museums and exhibits in the New Orleans area. Spotlight on Maryland reported last year on how BCYF expensed a trip for 100 community activists to Alabama, which included payments such as $3,600 for yoga sessions. The report led former Mayor Jack Young to criticize BCYF, which he initially helped launch in 2016 as president of the Baltimore City Council. He told Spotlight on Maryland in December that he wanted BCYF to cancel its planned trip to New Orleans.
That fund was created so that community-based organizations could get funding for the programs they have for the youth, not a junket for grown-ups.
A spokesman for BCYF said the group's February trip included meetings with elected leaders in New Orleans who created a 10-year youth plan that Baltimore hopes to soon emulate. The spokesman told Spotlight on Maryland that BCYF's trip to New Orleans was a strategic and transformative investment in our children's future. Professor Brian Mittendorf teaches at Ohio State University and specializes in nonprofit accounting. He wonders whether Baltimore City leaders support BCYF's spending.
Governments have a lot of oversight, and the mere fact of that money going from a government entity to a nonprofit shouldn't be the end of that oversight. And so I would be interested in whether it comports with the policies of the government entity as well.
Spotlight on Maryland reached out to Mayor Brandon Scott and each member of the Baltimore City Council with the following questions about BCYF's trip to New Orleans. Do you believe this was an effective use of taxpayer dollars? Do you believe BCYF should continue to operate as a nonprofit or be restructured within the Baltimore City government? None of them responded. Spotlight on Maryland reported this month on how Mayor Scott's proposed fiscal year 2026 Baltimore City budget sends $16 million in taxpayer funds to BCYF, $7 million of which BCYF then sends to the Mayor's Office of Employment Development.
Baltimore City Comptroller Bill Henry told us that he has no control or oversight over BCYF. Now, the Baltimore City Charter shows that BCYF's spending is controlled by its board. We'll continue to track how they spend your taxpayer money. For Spotlight on Maryland, I'm Patrick Huff.